companies on the clock to find a buyer for TikTok. Today, President Biden signed a law that forces the company that owns TikTok to either sell it or face a ban. Legislators from both parties expressed concern TikTok was collecting valuable data from users about how bad they are at dancing. ByteDance will have 9 months to sell TikTok or be banned, thus leaving millions of young, vapid, mindless influencers without an outlet to express their hatred for America or their preferred pronouns. On the bright side, though, they'll have plenty of extra time to protest Israel. Even though Biden signed a law potentially banning TikTok, Fox is told his campaign will remain on the app. But it makes sense. Joe only uses TikTok to clear up his gaffes.
Hey, tickety talkers. Look, here's the deal. Let's clear something up, all right? You misheard me. You misheard me. I didn't say my uncle was eaten by cannibals. I said my son was eating cannabis. He likes it. What are you going to do? We'll have our snacks, right? He likes cannabis. I like ice cream. All right? All right. Orange man bad. Let's do some hand jive. Shoobop, shawada, wada, chickity boom da boom. Shank, shank, changity, chang, shabba.
Shoulder out.
Yeah. It's dangerous.
It's real.
There's a lot of... One of the many dangers of TikTok is...
He's not grieving anymore, so...
No, he got over
I
it,
allow
Guy.
all of the jokes.
Guy, do you think... let me just get your take on this whole TikTok bill. It's bipartisan, which is absolutely surprising to me.
I'm glad that they did it. It's an espionage tool and a propaganda tool of our number one adversary, poisoning like the youth of America. This is an actually serious decision by a country, ours, that seems increasingly unserious. So I'm glad that we did it. I think that was like maybe a way to get around it without an outright like legislative action, which was, or maybe to tweak it a little bit, which was to force American TikTok users to play by the rules that China imposes on kids in their country using TikTok, where they have limited hours in a day where you can use TikTok, and it has to be educational material. I think TikTokers would be sprinting to, Instagram Reels or something, because it would defeat the purpose. But I think that's insightful, actually. How the Chinese use TikTok in their own country is almost the opposite of how they've sold it to us. So I'm glad that Congress actually did this.
Interesting. Let's go over for a libertarian viewpoint. I suspect we might get a little pushback from Kat. What do you think, Kat?
I disagree with Guy Benson.
All right.
No. I mean, I don't disagree. Look, the reason I think what I do actually has nothing to do with TikTok itself. And it has to do with the language in the bill, talking about, foreign adversary. It's actually a very vague definition, a broad definition. When this passed in the House, when the TikTok bill passed in the House, Rand Paul wrote a piece about it, citing First Amendment concerns, potentially Fifth Amendment concerns, because there are actually Americans who have ownership in TikTok as well. And the government can't seize your property without due process. So there's all that. But also just looking back, again, going back to what we were talking about in the last segment, telling Americans to be, afraid of something from a foreign adversary. That's how we got the Patriot Act. That's how we got FISA. So I do not feel comfortable with this potential to take away our rights.
How much is China paying you?
Yeah. You know what the bummer is? The bummer is not even $1. Not even a single dollar.
$1 million.
Well, that's it.
Thank you.
Tyrus, we have, we allow China to buy farmland in the United States. RT is a Russian network that I can watch right after we tape the show. I can go watch RT. So there's all sorts of foreign media and other kind of influence in our country. Why this app at this time?
It's pointless. Again, I'm on the crazy train because I'm disagreeing with Guy here. This comes from a parent. There's no legislation. This is a joke. Okay, You're banning them, so what, an American company can come in and do the same damn thing? Let's not act like Facebook and Instagram and all the other apps don't do the same thing. So if they were really concerned with protecting our kids, they would put a lock on the algorithms. They would use the algorithms. A man can go on social media, look at child porn, do all this stuff, and the algorithms can tell you how old he is, how often he does it. It's simple. They can catch them doing this. Your sex trafficking, you want to stop that, fentanyl, drug dealers and stuff, it's all on the net. And when it comes to our kids, a kid will go on there and be like, oh, I'm going to go on an adult website. They know through their algorithm that on normal days he's still a kid. They can tell he's 12 years old saying he's 18 or older on Pornhub. They just don't care because it's the people who use this stuff, who buy the fake bots, who buy the are the pedophiles and stuff like that. So money is more important to these companies than our children are. Because if they really cared about our kids, they would use this to catch the predators. But they don't. They inspire them. They help them build communities. So it's complete. Who cares who owns it? It's going to be the same. So that's my issue.
Do you agree with Tyrus that they're just going to sell this to some other company that's going to do the same stuff that's happening with TikTok?
It's a highly successful product. They probably would just do the very same thing. And the idea that the government cares about privacy or China is as laughable as one of my stand-up shows. Because if they wanted to stop privacy violations, they would just make it illegal for companies to spy on you just because you want to use a phone. And they don't do that. And China can just buy that information from a third party like our government already does. And part of the First Amendment is the right to listen. I have the right to hear what a foreign adversary says. And if we really want to stop China, maybe we should get rid of the free trade deals so we don't have to depend on them for our antibiotics and pants.
Yeah. Guy, you have 6 seconds to rebut all 3 arguments. Go.
I'm just the only person here who loves America. And I would say if we're going to poison our brains with nonsense, I would rather do it to ourselves. I'd rather we do it to ourselves.
American nonsense.
Than have China do it to us.
Yeah, there you go. Up next, why kids chose Southern hospitality over Ivy League brutality.
All right, I want everyone to pause and watch what may be Joe Biden's worst gaffe yet. That's saying a lot.
Folks, imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. Are you ready?
So force the crowd to chant 4 more years because they're not going to do it on their own. And when you say those words, then you shush up, and then the crowd actually gets the point, and they do it on for president one day. And obviously you're taking a very different posture now about the case, about where you were then, what you were saying then, and what you are saying now. Is it your experience that contributed to this, or is this the totality of what happened with you and your former client, the totality of what happened, I guess, with Michael Cohen, the totality of what happened in your own life? Explain. It's such a different Michael Avenatti to me. Can you explain that?
Well, I think it's all of what you mentioned, Sean. I do recall when we met, actually, and I recall you and I got along pretty well, actually, that night. But separate apart from that, I've learned a lot over the last 5 to 6 years, Sean. You know, I've been a product of the system, if you will. I've been ground through the system, fighting 3 cases at one time. I've learned a lot about the media. I've learned a lot about what it's like when the government comes for you, when you're targeted. I've learned a lot about what it means to really get due process or to be deprived of due process. And so, you know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, I guess that's not true, because I've certainly grown a lot and learned a lot over the last 5 years. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying now, and I firmly believe it.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, if you were to testify in this case, you know that the prosecution would want to impeach you as a witness, and obviously all the issues you've had to deal with over the last number of years, all of that would be brought up. How would you handle that?
I'd handle it directly, I'd handle it truthfully, and I can promise you that I'd be a hell of a lot better witness than Michael Cohen could ever hope to be.
All right, and coming up, a Secret Service officer assigned to Kamala Harris's detail. This is breaking news, reportedly.